The Cold War began from rising tension between the Eastern and Western superpowers of the world. After World War II ended, the two major superpowers that remained were the United States and the Soviet Union. They were very different in their approach in their governments and political views. The Soviet Union had practiced communism, while the United States practiced capitalism. The creation of the atomic bomb was a result of the US government not wanting to send more soldiers off to die in the war effort. This led to the creation of the Manhattan Project. The goal of this project was to run atomic tests in the Midwest and create two bombs to drop on Japan. The two bombs that were made were called the Little Boy and the Fat Man. The Fat Man was a bigger version of the Little Boy and had a much larger blast radius and was much more powerful. However, they were both devastating in their own way. Eventually, the Little Boy and Fat Man were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, thus ending World War II. However, the atomic tests prior to this drop of the two bombs left the Midwest of the United States covered in nuclear fallout and was highly irradiated. The US itself still hasn't recovered fully to this day, and these test sites are still irradiated. Enter right stage, the USSR and the birth of communism. The birth of communism made America and other countries afraid that it would spread to their countries, thus creating the Red Scare. This later led to the birth of McCarthyism in the United States. This event was put in motion by Joseph McCarthy, which had begun a witch hunt for communist spies within the borders of the United States. The Rosenbergs were two such people who were accused of sending atomic information to the USSR. Their punishment, death by electric chair. These events all led up to what we now know as mutually assured destruction. This began with the Soviets developing their own atomic bomb as a counter to even out the odds with the United States. The US and the Soviet Union had prepared many nuclear weapons in case of an attack. Eventually, these powers were locked in an arms race and tried to remain 3 steps ahead of the other side. According to one article, at the height of the Cold War, roughly 12,000 nuclear warheads were deployed on about 2,000 delivery vehicles, all in high alert status in case of the Soviet Union attacking the United States. We shouldn't really have to worry about any sort of large atomic bombs being dropped on the United States to this day. However, there is a possibility that terrorists could make smaller and more condensed atomic bombs as a way to create a terror threat. These bombs could be used in such things such as car bombs or by suicide bombers. And as we all know, terrorists are looking for new ways to harass the United States. In case an atomic explosion does go off, you should have a shelter in place prepared with food, water, and other supplies. Good ideas for a shelter would be to hide in the middle floor of any building. Stay as far away from the ground floor or the roof as possible, for these places could accumulate fallout. If you do, head to your basement or local fallout shelter. These places should be made out of concrete and underground in order to prevent radiation from leaking into your shelter. Be sure to carry any sort of water and very good preservable food. And remember, always be prepared for the future. This message was brought to you by Vaultec.